Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome back to the channel for our first look at something that we haven't taken a look at in a very long time, a new DLC for City Skylines. Specifically City Skylines 2, a DLC coming out on October 29th, 2025 by the name of Bridges and Ports, or as I call it, Ports and Bridges. It doesn't matter because it includes both those things, and they certainly go hand in hand, and after playing some other games like Docked and also Seafarer, it's got me thinking all about ports and building my own, and I had no idea until recently with these dropped videos from Colossal Order that there would be that type of building in the game. You can actually build your own modular ports, and that's quite cool. And also there's new resources. Well, returning from, for example, the Sunset Harbor DLC, we can now finally do more with fishing and bring in offshore oil and have that processed in our cities too. So welcome aboard. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button, because today we're going to take a little bit more of a deep dive on this City Skylines 2 in general and some other games coming out next year, such as Transport Fever 3, which I think City Skylines 2 will definitely be in competition with those games not being direct city builders, but of course having a little bit more to do, I think, with what City Skylines 2 will be aiming for. So first of all, we have bridges, and we're getting a lot of great new cosmetic bridges and also footbridges, but they're bringing in drawbridges and other types of lift bridges that go great with ports. Of course, your ferries, your transport ships, your cargo ships, your also oil tankers will have to go through there, and it brings a very nice looking appearance to the city. Like, you can tell that some of these are really based on real world locations, such as some Dutch bridges that I've seen before, and also some American bridges too in some of the major cities where larger avenues and roads will really look nice going over your canals. And I think this game finally will allow you to, even better in the vanilla version, kind of create a narrow canal city in a city that has a big old port, and that is absolutely something I want to do myself. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to get new maps, but I hope it does, because that will really help to show off all the new things coming to the game and all the new things that we can do, and more of a focused build too, of if you're able to build a port, well, damn right, I want to be able to have a lot of river traffic, and with ferries also being a little bit easier to use and like more applicable to the port environment, it'll be cool to transport people up and down river, or do so via like some pedestrian footpaths. So hopefully you have a lot more active and lively port area, and we're about to talk about that in just a moment. And I hope to see a lot more traffic related to that. So I hope we get more abilities to tie trains into that, and more train cars and different train types and heavy cargo transport that I think will put this in direct competition with Transport Fever 3 and maybe Tropico, which will be coming out. I don't know. There's a lot of games that are city builders that lean heavily towards being more transportation sims, but there's certainly a lot more options to be able to build cities now, and I think City Skylines 2 will have some real big comparisons to, well, should I get this DLC? Should I get the game? That type of thing. And that's something I want to ask you about in just a little bit. So if you have some opinions on City Skylines 2, please do drop them down below, and I'll ask a question, some more specifics on that in just a little bit. Now, I'm really delighted and blown away that we can actually build our own ports here, just like how we could build airports in City Skylines 1. And that is something that I wanted to explore after playing, like I mentioned earlier, Docked and Seafarer, to be able to build my own cargo processing areas in order to, store containers both on land, and also to get them ready to be shipped via truck or train, and to build giant piers, and to be able to use more keys. And I think that'll be a great thing to be able to build our own shipping lanes that then kind of connect to the international lanes too. That's something I believe we could do in City Skylines 1 with aircraft. So I'm absolutely looking at this as kind of an airport DLC, but more focused on heavy cargo via ships. Now, in addition to the, of course, cargo sectors, we get new resources. So fishing itself and bringing in fish will be just as important as bringing in oil and then processing that. And I think mostly in my cities, I've always tried to build beautiful cities with a view that focus on tourism and education, but I never found industrial to be appealing, especially in City Skylines 1, until the industrial DLC came out, and mass transit and some other things. Now, some things that still jar me about this game, even in City Skylines 2, is how docks and bridges and piers are like miles above the water, miles and miles above the water. And so when a ferry pulls up to a dock, it seems to be like, people have to jump down or climb down a ladder to get into a boat. It's very weird, and I hope there's more options to be able to adjust the sea level, or at least the shoreline. So maybe there'll be some maps that, and of course made by the players too, that mimic that. Now, in addition to these two new things, there's also, of course, a new nation coming to the regions pack for the Netherlands. So I think that'll be another thing that I want to check out, because apparently we're getting a free update soon that will have bikes. I'm not sure when or what that'll be a part of, but biking will finally be a part of it. And I want to play both this DLC and that region pack with also the update that should bring all those things together. I mean, the Dutch have a lot of ports, of course, and a lot of bikes and a lot of pedestrian traffic and a lot of bridges, and all those things would go together perfectly. So if the developers can kind of time all these things together, we'll get a lot of free content with also some paid DLCs. And I've got to say, this game is really attempting to try to come back and earn a lot of trust, although I'm honestly not sure why so many people were not happy at the beginning. Now, I know the competition was really against this game, because with almost 10 years at the time of DLCs and mods, City Skylines 2 really had to do a lot of legwork in order to even be close to it. But I really wonder what players were looking for and what they expected from this game, or what they wanted it to be, and if it's close to that now. I'm not saying they were wrong. I just honestly don't. I don't really see it. Like I'm not sure exactly what the issue is at launch or what it is now. Has it changed? I'm not sure. Like, I've always enjoyed it, and I want to see it get better and appeal to more people. And I want this game to really succeed, because we don't really have anything else at the moment competition wise, other than if EA happens to come back somehow with a SimCity game. But I am always welcome to more competition and games that kind of weave into both city builder and transportation simulator. I think Transport Fever 3 is really truly a city builder, because of course you'll be able to, and you could do this in the previous games, build cities by delivering supplies and providing a lot of infrastructure, and that's what really attracts a lot of people to City Skylines. Now it goes well beyond that, but the basic bones there do allow for it to be much more than that, and I hope we get to see more of it linking into a city builder, or they make some sort of a spin-off game that takes all the things that we love about Transport Fever and makes that into a city builder, like allowing us to build schools and hospitals. And that is something we're seeing here in the Netherlands DLC. Now, I've been in the Netherlands quite a few times, in Belgium once or twice, and these countries are gorgeous, and you can absolutely tell what kind of buildings you're looking at when you see a Dutch hospital or a street or just a suburban home. And I think this is a perfect little regional pack, and it's great that the developers are financially supporting people who are still making maps for, like, City Skylines 1 got a new DLC for Shibuya, and they're having people from these regions of the Netherlands, Japan, Mexico, China, wherever, creating assets for those regions and trying to create new packs. And I think there's a lot of good will there. I like the fact that they're still supporting that first game and not trying to force people to go to 2, but they need to sweeten the pot a little bit here with 2, and I think they're doing that, because I hear a lot of unrest, and for a person who's played a lot of City Skylines 2, I'm very much unaware of that. I guess I haven't heard most of the arguments about 1 and 2 and the mods and other things like that, but I do see a willingness to try to improve, and I think that's the most important thing. And so with at least a little bit of the dissatisfaction from the community, I think we've gotten a lot of free DLCs. I know in the past City Skylines 2 has tried to do paid DLCs for I don't know, there was like the beach house types or something for the Mediterranean and North America, and they've tried to do some bare bones basic stuff that really just irritated everybody, and they want them to, quote, fix the game, and then 2, is it fixed yet, and 3, is it optimized yet? There's a lot of complaints, but I'm not sure what like the true ones are. I feel like people complain about that in every game, so I'm not sure what to think or listen to at the moment, or where I should put my focus in when I am trying to see if that applies to me. But I will say that I'm very excited to see this DLC, and I'm very excited to play these different types of cities that I usually don't. Like, again, going back to what I said, I like to build tourist cities and don't really get much into the industrial, but the industrial is probably the most fun, and that's kind of what makes it like Transport Fever 3, right? We love to stack up tons of supplies. We love to see things coming in to warehouses and going out to different industries, and I think there needs to be something that goes beyond this. If we're getting a port DLC, then I hope next we get something industrial, so we can further put things onto aircraft, onto trains, and onto ships, and take them off too, and make cities that are more blue collar too, with like fishing cities and small little towns and archipelagos in Sweden and Norway, but then also maybe make something that's huge and industrial, like something on the east or west coast of the United States, or maybe even something like in the Netherlands, like a strong, big port. But the oil thing is cool, and that makes me really think of Transport Fever 3 as well. So I'm going to be comparing these two games a little bit in my mind and thinking like they both give me those vibes. They both give me the satisfaction of setting up networks and seeing traffic work. And interestingly enough, if you didn't know, Cities Skylines started as a game called Cities in Motion. They're kind of directly connected. Some of the assets from Cities in Motion are in Cities Skylines 1, and that was a game that focused on literally just transporting people around via bus and tram and other, I think, things like ferries. And now here we are. They made a new game called Cities Skylines, and now we have Cities Skylines 2. So they're certainly pulling in on a lot of that previous experience in those games, and now we have ourselves a full-fledged city builder. But I don't know what we want next from City Skylines 2. I don't know where we'll go next with City Skylines 2, but I do like the direction that it's going, and I like coming back to it every couple of months and seeing people trying it out more and more and just having a good time. Now, I don't know if this will be coming to console either, and I don't know if it's optimized for that, but what are we, 2 years? No, almost 3 years in now or more. But I think that might also explain some of the slow development too, is that at this point we would have seen way more DLCs if we were successful at the beginning and people just fully adopted it. And I'd say by City Skylines 1 standards, we had some big things missing from City Skylines 1 at the start. The weird thing with the whole winter-only maps or summer-only maps, and then like there wasn't day-night cycles. I think you had to get the what was it, After Dark DLC. So City Skylines 1, in comparison to SimCity from 2013, was a great leap forward, allowing people to do things that they finally wanted to do in that game. And so, yeah, I think they saw it A versus B, but when you're making a sequel, it is a hard thing to do. It really is. Like when you're looking at Frostpunk 1 versus Frostpunk 2, I like the direction that they went in. They didn't make more of the same. They tried to do something that almost felt halfway between a spin-off and something completely new. So I'm really hoping that the Paradox team and the Colossal Order team and everybody working behind this game is going to have a good time. I hope they really feel that they're making some traction now, and they're really making something that everybody wants to play and gets their attention. And that's why this DLC really jumped out at me, honestly. I think after playing the games that I did and seeing that the Ports and Bridges DLC was coming out, I was like, wow, there's actually a first DLC for this. I never thought we'd see the day. And I really hope that this sets the standard for what new DLCs will be. Here's my fantasy. Here's what I'm hoping, right? I hope that this update comes out and that a lot of people have gotten it because of the Steam Autumn sale, or maybe they'll get it with the Steam Winter sale, and they check it out, and I hope they give it an honest review. And I hope that a lot of those reviews are, hey, I thought this game was going to be way worse, but I had a good time, but it's got some ways to go. And then they download some mods and they're like, I'm glad to see that the community is doing things as well, as they always will, to add more content and fix things that necessarily aren't broken, or not necessarily broke, whatever it may be. But I just hope that people then get the DLC and also feel the same way. That's what I hope. I hope that it is going in the right direction, and if the developers need more feedback, that those are coming from the right places, and that people are giving constructive feedback saying, here's something that we'd like to change, here's something that could benefit this game if it were added, if we put more focus here, this could be a really good thing. Hey, there's a big system issue with a recent update to an OS or something like that that's creating problems. I think we should really continue to work with these developers and not be like a negative force. I think there is a little bit too much rash negativity, although if it is deserved that they are criticized, that's totally fine. But I do hope that more of this constructive creative feedback, especially in the city builder with all these creative folks making maps and region packs, really helps to make this game continue to be a good franchise. And I think it'll be a long time until we see City Skylines 3, but I hope they do work quickly to play catch up with all the things that could have been coming out for DLCs. But I don't need to see any more radio stations. I don't need any of that stuff. Endless amounts of radio stations and theme packs and extra buildings and stuff. I don't want that. I want not the Sims stuff pack from this game, but I want there to be an actual big game mechanic that's added with every DLC. We got that with the green cities. We got that with the mass transit DLC, the industrial DLC. All my favorites for City Skylines 1, and it is great to see City Skylines 1 still getting DLCs. I think they're both great games that you can play independently and be in the mood for one and then be in the mood for the other and how they play. They almost feel like heavily different modded games on top of each other. But every time I play Transport Fever, people always think it's some version of City Skylines. So it's almost hand in hand that we're starting to see this game and other games like it become more transport simulators, hence the Ports and Bridges DLC. But then, of course, I don't know, maybe we could definitely be in the mood for a new city builder that's really got a big budget behind it and really impresses. All right, well, let me know your thoughts on City Skylines 2 down below. Why don't you like it? I'm not questioning you and saying you're wrong. I'm just honestly wondering what are some things that just still turn you off about the game, or have you turned around? Have things improved? I don't know. You let me know down below, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye.